Welcome back to Coda, everybody.
You and I are like two StarCraft II commentators at a casting desk right now.
Somewhat like that. I wouldn't put us too close to that.
Sorry if that was a bad analogy.
We're a couple of horses in front of a huge buffet of hay. That's what we really are here.
Okay, well, it's time to eat it up, man.
Well, there's a carrot in front of our mouths, and that is Ruin versus Soulkey.
Yes, it is. That CG was on the screen for like less than a second, but you guys can figure out the rest of the group. It's not too complicated.
No.
Overgrowth is going to be the starting map here.
This is normally what Zergs are choosing right now, so it might be Soulkey favored. But you know what? Ruin actually is someone that I think comes up with very good plans for PvZ overall. I like a lot of his builds.
I feel like one thing I really like about Ruin is he doesn't necessarily always have a plan. He like makes the plan in the game. Like I think he's gonna figure the map out as it's being played rather than
maybe,
you know, just like he doesn't strike me as the type of player who just like plays 50 maps on the game on one matchup on one map and he's like, okay, now I know how to play PvZ on Overgrowth. Like that's not really how he prepares, I would say.
Okay.
I think he's more like, I'm going to play a few games and then I'm just going to play so reactionary and he can like look at the map. Well, I feel this way just based on the fact of like how he was able to pick out the trajectories of those medevacs and snipe them. That's not just like a...
Really good gaming sense.
Yeah, it's not a practiced skill. It's more of a talent.
Well, we'll see if he can show some talent in this match against the best Zerg in the world in Soulkey. Well, I'm really interested to see what build he uses to open up with, because I was really quite a fan of his really great Nexus first into Gateway at the wall-in that he used many, many times before in his previous Code A group from last season. He knew just how to execute that, and this is a big map. I think we might see it.
I think we might. One of these two players is going directly to the Code S round of 32. Will it be Ruin? Will it be Soulkey? We're starting things off on Overgrowth here at the GSL Code A. Top right in the yellow.
Ruin.
Very reactionary player, very impressive PvT we saw earlier.
And in the bottom left, reactionary as well. A monster.
Soulkey.
Not as scary as the Godzilla trailer.
Much scarier. I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, well said. Actually, now I think about it,
you could actually probably take a Godzilla movie and any scene with Godzilla, if you just replace whenever people scream Godzilla with Soulkey, and then you take like the Godzilla scene out and just have Soulkey like sitting down at a desk to play StarCraft, I think the movie basically is the exact same.
Okay.
It's like he sits down, you see him click, and then a building explodes. It's like that's the power behind Soulkey here.
It like goes hatch first, and like all Los Angeles is on fire.
This is reality.
Actually, no, that's the Terran players playing in the losers match.
You ruined my my joke. All right, so Ruin actually opens up the Forge first. This is so popular right now to just go Forge on 13, run down there, delay a hatch. It's a good opener.
What is
Uh-oh, maybe he's tailsing.
The placement of that pylon means you could actually wall a cannon in with three pylons.
He did something exactly like this on Daedalus Point last season, but not going to do it. Nope. Remember that?
Yes, I do.
It was actually a really cool build, but I guess it was a little bit different because he sent the probe out much earlier then. I got ahead of myself there. I'm sorry, Wolf. It wasn't much like that, actually.
I thought he might try to do like a 3-pylon wall with the cannon there, because I think he could do that tight.
Oh, maybe.
And it would hit the hatch, and then if he could get the probe squeezed out, which I'm sure he would, he'd go on the high ground too to get vision up there, and could have ruined Soulkey's day.
Yeah.
Or evening, I guess, at this point.
It's evening. It's
about 7:33 Korean Standard Time right now.
Is it about 7:33 or is it 7:33?
Well, it's 6 seconds on my watch.
Okay.
I'd say about.
Gotcha. All right, so nothing too weird about these openers. It's something that we see all the time.
Yeah, they're keeping it pretty standard. Although, I mean, I guess Soulkey had to take the third base instead of the natural, which on a map of this size, doesn't really, you know, put you in a major setback. It's a minor setback.
That's true. And I don't think anything's going to come of it. It generally doesn't. It just slows it down, as you say, a minor setback.
It's kind of like when you realize you forget your wallet when you're in the elevator of your building, not when you're about to go on the subway train.
Yeah.
It's a minor setback. You're like, okay, just go right back up and grab it.
Exactly.
Not like, oh, now I can't pay for the subway and now I need to go all the way back home. That's a major setback.
Things like that happen sometime. And if he had delayed the third hatch a little bit more, that would be like when I get outside and realize it's cold while walking through the parking lot and have to go back to get a jacket.
Yeah.
That would be a slightly bigger setback, but
the biggest setback of all is like when you suddenly have a 2 to 3 hour delay and you just decide not to carry your tablet with you because you're like, I don't need it today. It's like a little bit heavy, and you really need it later. That's like when you get cannon rushed.
The biggest setback is getting to the airport without your passport.
Well, yeah, I heard a commentator actually had that problem recently.
Well, he straight up lost it, I heard, but I don't know. No one would do that.
Right.
All right, so
double gas going up, and the Stargate goes down. So he's likely to Phoenix here, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so.
Not really a map for Oracles because the third base isn't really any closer to the Protoss to where you get that extra little speed. You know what I mean?
Well, you know.
Oh, that was nice, by the way, using that probe to help kill that Zergling.
I want to say I remember Ruin doing one Oracle build into Void Ray from last season, but I might be off on that. It might be someone else.
I think that might have been SOS who did that.
It could have been.
On Daedalus, maybe? There's a lot of games
I know
last
that
season.
SOS definitely did do that in Daedalus before, but I think it is obviously a Phoenix opener, especially with this +1 attack going at the moment.
Yeah.
And adding some pylons, no gateways being thrown up. They'd be thrown up right about now if he wanted to hit a 4-gate with Zealots plus the Phoenix pressure. So probably going to throw down a Robo next.
I think so. The Zerglings are checking out the area.
They're doing a good job of scouting at the moment.
Notice,
stay on top of things.
Interestingly, he sends groups of lings instead of one at a time. So I guess that's if he finds a pound, he can kill it faster. Because if you are a bit slow on that, you know, if you only have one ling to find it, you might actually, at this timing, the Zealots might get to warp in before you can actually kill that pylon. Not sure if that's the reason, but I noticed he kept them in groups of more than one.
Well, he does add 3 gateways here. Now, this could be for a few different things. Of course, he does have that +1 coming up, so he could still want to do that Zealot pressure, but the thing is his probe has been found, so even if he wanted to, it's not even a very good idea at this point.
Yeah.
But the 4 gates could just be to make some extra units to be able to support him getting an expand.
Somebody really needs to fix the acceleration on that Phoenix. It's looking a little bit bumpy. You know, he's got to fix the clutch or something. A bit jerky, bumpy ride there. But yeah, this is a bit annoying because he spent a lot of chrono boost on warp gate research and the +1. And now he's not able to do it.
Look at this, a Twilight on the way.
Do you think he's going to do that? Make a third Nexus wallet with gateways not mined from it +2 Blink Stalker.
From a Phoenix opener. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah. There's already a Hydralist in, though, and that can put a damper on this if the Zerg gets a good idea this is coming.
Yeah, I don't think he's just going to go for an all-in like that. But the thing is, Ruin, he has like a wide variety of strategies to choose from. He's someone that has used a lot of different styles in the past, so can't really put it past him. But with these Hydras on the way, range on the way, already having this many Zerglings out, I don't know. I feel like Soulkey has the scouting tools necessary and the infrastructure necessary to be able to hold off an attack like that. You might want to go into actually having probes at that third. And the fact that he's still making probes makes me think he's gonna.
Yeah. That was a nice little pick off there. Saves all the Phoenixes. I think you're right. I'm gonna do that wall, regardless of what he decides to do after this. There's the Robo, so.
Yeah. Well, he's going to have to go into Colossus Tech at this point. You know, there's
Way
quite
too
a
many
few
Hydras
Hydras out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can hold these off, but you have to be very careful about how you do it. Like, you're going to have to hit your force fields just right. You're going to have to blink just right, because Hydras can get a little bit scary in that scenario.
It's like you basically have to have either, against this many Hydras, either Void Rays or you have to have Colossi. You can't do it with like a skimpy Gateway army and just 5 Phoenixes.
Well, the Phoenixes may want to come back at this point. Looks like Soulkey is moving up to do some pressure here. Picking off a few
This
probes.
is a really strong Hydra. I mean, he forces the overcharge at the natural.
Yeah.
So the third base is still a bit exposed for now.
And he's doing all this right before +2 and blink finish. So there's not a whole lot of micro that can take place.
Yeah, the Colossus tech isn't even started yet, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh god, those force shields are really good, but he needs to pull himself back a little bit because the Hydras on the low ground are still actually doing their damage.
The ones behind the force field's having a hard time hitting very much, and he does take out those Zerglings, especially since his Zealots were on that side. Picks off a couple Hydras as well. That was a strong defense from Ruin.
Yeah, that really was.
And he still has 5 sentries, so I mean this is pretty nice. He lost mostly Zealots there. Didn't even have to bring the Phoenixes in.
The fourth base is now going up for Soulkey. Starts Aspire as well, knowing that Colossus Tech is the next response to this. Most likely for Corruptors. With the Roach Warren coming down though too. And he's going to be able to transition to Mutas later if he chooses to. One Overlord picked off. I think that's going to be all he gets with the Hydras almost home.
Yeah, still flying around seeing if he can do a little bit more, but 4 more gates on the way as well as this Warp Prism. Ruin has a lot of different stuff that he can do from here. He can fly in with that Warp Prism. Probably the cool thing about going for a Warp Prism after you open up with Phoenixes and pretty soon after is you can clear out all the scouts that can see that incoming. So a lot of times you can catch them off guard with the Zalt Warping in the main base.
True. Rural Bay is corrupted here. It'll take a little bit long, or contaminated, I should say, a little bit longer to get anything out of there. So a lot of sentries here, 7. I'm sure a lot of them have recharged their energy since we last had that engagement. But there's 21 Blink Stalkers with +2 against 22 Hydras with a lot of Link support here. I'm not so sure about this attack.
I wouldn't want to go up a hill against this. I wouldn't want to be on creep against this. Maybe in a little choke, but as is, Soulkey's moving his army very well. And the Mothership Core goes down without casting any spells. A big mistake, but really good force fields on the right-hand side do allow Ruin to kill part of that army.
Yeah, he cuts that army to the right, then moves out of range of it. He took some damage early on, but was able to move out of that. And this is still a really scary push that's coming across. He's doing this off of just 4 gases right now. A lot of extra mineral income from that. And he looks like he's going to be able to cut off this gold base and kill it. I think he has enough force shields to deny.
He absolutely can.
And even if he doesn't have a ton of force shields, he's still going to have this high ground position. He can easily kill this base. And there's nothing that Soulkey can do about it. Now the next step for him, I would say, is to start making some Colossi and then maybe take later on, when he feels a little bit more comfortable, a 4th base of his own. I don't think he's going to be able to end the game off of this by any means.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's continuing to make units here, though, and he's not making any more probes. He's sitting tight on 58 and not getting his additional gases, so I think he thinks he can actually end it here.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of Blink Stalkers and a lot of Force Energy still with Guardian Shield 2, and he's picking off these Lings for free. He shouldn't let those go through there just to die, and he's putting them into a meat grinder.
Yeah, it looks like he wanted to let his Hydras get some extra hits there, but actually these Hydras with their range doing a great job so far. These Force Fields doing okay, and of course those Blinks keeping his Stalker count very, very high at the moment.
Yeah, the Mineral Bank is all but gone here for Soulkey, and he can't really fight. He's like got 3 Hydras firing out of like 12 down there.
Down in that mineral line, that is a travesty. He had so many units doing absolutely nothing.
I think that's going to cost him the game.
Yeah, he did not quite have enough attacking there, and it looks like Ruin, simply put, has enough.
Yep. Zealots coming forward here in just a second to start tanking a little bit more damage. Way too many Blink Stalkers. Blink it forward. That's the final blow. There's now more Stalkers warping at that Warp Prism, and Soulkey is dead. Another Blink forward. GG.
Wow, all right. Well done by Ruin.
A little bit of a...
I thought that Soulkey was actually going to be able to hold that, to be honest.
A little bit of a micro mistake there with some of his units getting caught, like bumping into drones and roaches or something.
I think even if he microed that perfectly at that point, I think Ruin was still going to get him.
Probably.
He, he had just enough force fields to pick off just enough units that he had the critical mass of Stalkers he needed to roll through the rest of Soulkey.
With the force fields and where the map works and that choke point, it's very difficult for the Hydras to actually engage with their full power.
Well, we'll see what map will Soulkey choose. Might want to go for a bigger one, as Ruin showing that he is very scary indeed with that Blink Stalker-based army. Can weaken the strength of something like that on a map like Alterzim, but you got to look at Ruin and say, how comfortable is he with maybe like a Skytoss army if you want to risk picking a map like that?